Brooklyn's boxing history dates back farther than the bridge that connects it to Manhattan. The first heavyweight champion, John L. Sullivan, fought in the borough in 1882, and ever since, Brooklyn has produced many champions. But perhaps none has a story similar to Daniel Jacobs. As Dan Seraphin shows, through ups and downs, Jacobs truly is Brooklyn's good guy.
Today, Daniel Jacobs seems to have it all. A world champion in the ring, he trains for his next bout this August here in the borough he calls home. Outside of the ring, he works just as hard to make sure everyone he meets has a smile on their face almost as big as the one Jacobs always seems to have on his.
This is something that I've always wanted, not just to be a champion, a boxing world champion, but to be a people's champion.
To feel how each day is a victory for Jacobs now, you need to know just how close to defeat he was a little more than 4 years ago.
He came to the hospital. He was partially paralyzed. He had a tumor essentially arising from the bone that was severely compressing the spinal cord.
Jacobs' passion for boxing started here at the Howard Houses in Brownsville. A chance to get back at the neighborhood bully. Jacobs, then 14 years old, decided it'd be a better idea to stand up to him inside a boxing ring than in the school cafeteria.
The rest is history. Beat up the kid. He never returned to the gym, and I found, love for the sport. I knew I had some talent because first 6 months into boxing, I won my first national championship.
He won New York's Golden Gloves 4 times.
I started to travel the world. I started to see so many different things in so many different places. Being from Brownsville, I never had the chance to really see outside of my neighborhood. So boxing was my savior.
Then nicknamed the Golden Child, Jacobs won his first 20 pro fights, but was still just a young man. 22,
23 years old, and in and out of clubs, not really taking my boxing career that serious because I was gifted, right? When you're gifted, you don't have to go the extra mile.
His first loss as a pro came in July of 2010. Jacobs fought twice more, both victories, before he started feeling a growing weakness throughout his body.
We flew over on the USO tour to Iraq, and that's when I really started to feel weak in my legs.
Within 2 months, Jacobs couldn't walk. Doctors at New-York-Presbyterian had to work quickly. Diagnosed with osteosarcoma, a cancerous tumor attached to Jacobs' spinal cord was growing rapidly.
An urgent operation to take the pressure off the spinal cord.
It was a somewhat new procedure using a GPS system that allowed doctors, led by Dr. Roger Hartl, to accurately perform surgery without opening up the entire spine.
I remember being in the hospital and having nights where I used to cry. I didn't think it would be possible for me to be able to perform again, because at the point where I was paralyzed was probably my worst state ever. I couldn't see it because physically I couldn't even move my legs. I watched a lot of movies and I always see these cases where the doctors always say, you can't do this and you can't do that, and they always prove the doctor wrong. So I started to look at it in that way, in that manner.
Days after the surgery, Jacobs was walking. Physical therapy started 6 weeks later. 3 months after surgery, Jacobs was cleared for athletic activities.
Once I told myself I was going to be able to do it, that's when I went full throttle.
18 months after surgery, Jacobs fought again in Brooklyn's Barclays Center. A first-round knockout win, the comeback has been the stuff of Hollywood movies. 7 fights, 7 knockout victories. In August of 2014, Jacobs won the WBA middleweight championship.
Me just being able to get back into the ring was something that I wanted to do, which was far-fetched at one point. So for me to become a champion and do it in the manner in which I've done it, 7 knockouts since I've been back, it's unheard of.
As Jacobs' story spread, his profile grew, but he's determined to do good first and foremost by his community.
I'm still in Brownsville to show these people and to show my people, I'm here. I haven't made it until I've done some good in my community.
Handing out food and gifts, Jacobs returned to this Brownsville apartment building days after we went with him to give more.
These are my Brownsville community. I connect with these people.
Among the boxing community, Jacobs is a star. Meeting with former fighters from the city, he's the guy everyone wants a picture with.
I'm proud of my story. I've done it. I'm never going to get tired of telling it because there's always going to be someone who could be inspired by my story.
For News 12 Overtime, I'm Dan Serafin.